Let's get to the Lakers. Kyle Kuzma drained a go-ahead three-pointer in the final second of the game off an Anthony Davis assist. It was a great play out of a timeout drawn up by Frank Vogel. Kuzma had 25 points in the Lakers' win last night. That was his most during the restart. And if you want to know his secret, apparently his mom was watching as a virtual fan courtside. Love that. He took to Instagram to highlight rule number 1. Always play good when your mama pulls up. Here's Kuzma and LeBron James after the game talking about that big shot. Take a listen.
It just shows that my teammates and my coaches, they trusted me, the trust that they have in me. And, every time we ran that play in practice, I've kind of hit the shot. So, they kind of just went to me. So, obviously, the play 9 out of 10 times going to LeBron, but, call my number and, it's all about trust. I mean, I'm starting on most teams in this NBA, in this league, and, everyone knows it, but it just so happens that I play behind the best 2 players in the NBA. So, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm just trying to fill in my role, try to find a niche, try to win, because that's kind of all that matters.
In order for us to win a championship, he has to be our 3rd best player. And if I'm struggling or if AD's struggling, he has to be our 2nd best player, any given night. I mean, it's just we can't win a championship with Kuz as a player.
All of that pretty interesting. I believe Kyle Kuzma also said that he loves to shoot the basketball, and if Jesus was in front of him defending, he would still take a shot. Richard, I'm not going to ask you to break down the Holy Apostles, but I do want to know how important you think Kuz is to the Lakers' ultimate success here in Orlando.
He is the most important player on their team. And I'll tell you this, it's because of this. We know what to expect from LeBron. We have expectations for AD that we feel like he can fulfill, whether it's on the defensive end or on the offensive end. Kyle Kuzma is the unknown. If Kyle Kuzma plays in a 15 to 17 point range, 15 to 18 point range throughout the postseason, the Lakers are the favorites. If he's somewhere between 14 and 12 points, like in that range, then they're going to struggle because LeBron James is 39 years old. Anthony Davis they're going to be physical against them. You need that 3rd person. Danny Green has struggled. Deion Waiters. You start looking at the rest of their line. He's the one guy that you look at that can be a consistent scorer and a consistent force for their team.
Well, I'm glad LeBron James finally said it, that Kyle Kuzma needs to be their 3rd best player, because that has been the debate with the Lakers all season long. Was it KCP? Was it Rondo? Was it Kuzma? No, it has to be Kyle Kuzma. And I think one of the things, he hit that shot. Frank Vogel said he stole that play from Mike Budenholzer when they used to run it in Atlanta. They would run it for Kyle Korver coming around with a Paul Millsap screen. But he had practiced that last week. He hit the shot that last week. They called it for him. It was a brilliant play with LeBron James drawing away 2 decoys. But he hit the shot, and he's been playing great defense, which has always been the knock against Kyle Kuzma. The last 3 games, he's got 7 steals. The entire season before the bubble, he had 21 steals. So if he can bring it at both ends of the court, I think the Lakers have something. If not, we're still having the debate over who their 3rd best player is.
That defensive aspect is so important. He and I were talking last week, and he said that being behind, as he noted in that sound you heard, being behind LeBron and AD at his position, he said, I realized the only way I could get on the court with them was to play my butt off on defense. Although Ramona and Richard, he didn't say but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that really, that is where some of that newfound dedication came from. And also that he's just healthier than he's been all season. Remember, he got injured during the World Cup play, was out for the beginning of the regular season. Even once he worked his way back in, wasn't fully healthy. He told me he did all kinds of exercises during the shutdown to strengthen his lower body, and you can see the results on the court. Now we'll just have to see if once they get into postseason pressure, we will see the results on the court. I want to get into who they might play because there's been a lot of chatter around the bubble. We haven't had the play-in game yet. We don't even know who's officially going to be in the play-in game yet, but there's a lot of speculation that if the Portland Trailblazers are facing the Lakers in the first round, it could be a very interesting matchup. Now, you're seeing video from the last time these teams met. Obviously, an incredibly emotional game. It was the Lakers' first game after the tragic death of Kobe Bryant. But it was a basketball game. And that night, Damian Lillard dropped 48 points, led the Blazers to a win at Staples Center. Ramona, you and I were both there that night. Do you think the Blazers pose a legit threat to the Lakers if they end up meeting in the first round?
Yeah, I do. And guess who also does? The Clippers, who were trying to throw a game against the Blazers to help them get into that play-in game the other day. Like, the Blazers were built a couple of years ago under the premise that they are not going to out-small ball the Warriors or the Rockets or the other teams in the league that have tried to go small. So they wanted to go big. They went and got Yusuf Nurkic, Zach Collins, and at the time Enes Kanter, and they had 3 7-footers on the court all together, and it created matchup nightmares for people. Well, the one team that you don't really have a problem with that is the Lakers, who have Anthony Davis and LeBron James, Dwight Howard, and JaVale McGee. So their big lineup is not going to give the Lakers any problems, but their guards will. And this is where not having Avery Bradley is really going to be a challenge for the Lakers, because Danny Green, KCP, Alex Caruso are going to have a heck of a time chasing CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard around for a 7-game series.
Yeah, Rachel, I agree. I think they have the most potential to be a problem for the Lakers. But let's be honest, the Blazers aren't playing great basketball. The Clippers basically tried to give them the game. They played against a Philadelphia 76ers team without Joel Embiid at the end because of an injury, and then without Ben Simmons, and didn't play well. Dame is having to put up 50 points a game, and this is a team that is better than they were in the regular season because they got Nurkic back. They got Zach Collins back, and they have yet to really dominate a team. That doesn't mean that they can't continue to play better. Dame is playing great. Carmelo has played great in stints in this bubble, but the Blazers are not playing great basketball, but they still pose the most potential problem to the Lakers. But they have a lot of work to do as a team in order to cause those problems, but it still is quite a potential for a problem.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.